So please join me in welcoming our next speaker for today, Alyssa Janz, Community Education Advisor with the Country Fire Authority. Alyssa commenced working for the CFA in February this year as part of the community engagement team that drives and oversees a range of initiatives with the aim of leading and supporting engagement for safer communities. Her role is to coordinate and support the delivery of the team's business plan and provide project management support at several new and ongoing projects. Elissa has been an active volunteer member of the Olinda Fire Brigade since 2009 and is an active firefighter with a passion for community education and engagement. The last 12 years have been focused around helping her community to become planned and prepared for fire in the role of Brigade Community Safety Coordinator. Over to you, Alyssa.
Thanks, Owen. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alyssa Janz and I'm from the Country Fire Authority, otherwise known as the CFA, here in Victoria. Today, I would like to share with you one of the resources that CFA have developed for disaster resilience education. Next slide, please. So this slide sort of really says what it's all about, and I'm guessing that most of the students that we aim to target probably wouldn't think of themselves as being disaster resilient, but that's something that we aim to help change. CFA puts the community at the centre of everything we do by delivering programs, services that make a difference to our community. We know that school-based disaster resilience education can build students' understanding of the causes, nature and effects of hazards while fostering a range of competencies and skills that will enable students to contribute proactively to disaster prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response and recovery. So what is DREV, as we call it? It's a teacher-led program that uses a website that's easy to use for students and teachers. It does not require teachers to be subject matter experts. It's aligned with the Victorian curriculum and it's online, ready to go. Back in 2016, CFA Vic SES, in collaboration with some schools, teachers and students, developed the Disaster Resilience Project. And the aim of this project was to increase students' knowledge and awareness of local disasters and to build their capacity for participating in practical action for disaster risk resilience and reduction. In 2018, the project won a Victorian Disaster Resilience Award. In 2019, it was evaluated by Dr. Bryony Towers, as well as Sophie Perello from RMIT and Professor Kevin Ronan from the Queensland Bushfire Natural Hazards Cooperative Research Centre. The current website has now been updated to reflect the evaluation recommendations. And this was relaunched in June this year and with an email campaign sent out to all secondary schools across Victoria from CFA to highlight the relaunch of the site and to encourage schools to take a look and hopefully to start using the site. Next slide, please. The DREV website is specifically designed for students in years 7 to 9. There are 5 interactive lessons that cover a range of topics, and each lesson provides teachers with a learning guide and the relevant resources. All lessons are followed by a quiz that can be done either online or the teachers can print out the resources and the students can handwrite on them. Next slide, please. The website is easy for both students and teachers to use, and there's a range of resources that are all hyperlinked on the site to make it easy for everybody to find whatever they need to. But instead of a whole lot of screenshots, I've made a short screen recording about how to access the site and work your way through it. So if we can just take a look at the next slide and if you could play the recording, please.
I just wanted to show you how easy it was to use the website. Just log on to disasterresilience.vic.gov.au. Teachers can click on the teacher page. There's a brief introduction to disaster resilience education, as well as links to the curriculum and links to a range of helpful resources that both students and teachers can utilise. As it notes, this unit has been designed for teachers to deliver lessons with minimal preparation and background knowledge of local natural hazards and disaster preparedness. Here you'll find some tips on before, during and after each lesson. There are 5 lessons, and each one is similar in the way it's been set out, with different activities for different topics. In this teacher guide, you'll find the learning intentions clearly noted, the success criteria, the supporting resources for the lesson, where you can click on the quiz sheets and print them out, or the students can do them online. The lesson is then outlined. There's optional activities, the learning intentions can be revisited, and there's a clear exit pass. When the students are ready to access the site, they can click on disasterresilience.vic.gov.au and click on the Students page. The Tips and Tricks page will give them some tips about how to get the best experience using the site. They can click on each of the lessons where they can read the learning intentions and the success criteria. They can also click on the quiz worksheets if they would prefer to print them out and write on them, or at the end of each lesson, they can access the quiz online and save their answers. There's also the optional activities, and the exit path is clearly noted for them. If you have any comments or feedback about the site, just visit the contact page and send us an email.
Thank you. So that was a brief overview of the site and just how easy it really is to use and how much amazing information is there, ready for students to use, all ready to go now. Next slide, please. There are numerous benefits for both students and teachers to use the DREV website. It's an easy to use website to support disaster resilience education in schools. The lessons are already prepared with learning outcomes. So that means there are 5 lessons all ready to go with clear indications of what the students will be learning. Teachers can prepare for each lesson using the teachers pages, and students will gain invaluable knowledge for their own areas, which they can take home to discuss with their families, which can result in a greater number of people sharing a discussion about their own disaster and emergency planning. This provides skills and knowledge that will benefit students, teachers, and schools in the event of natural disasters in future times. Next slide, please. I'm just going to play you a short video where we can hear from some students and teachers.
The Disaster Resilience Project is a working relationship between schools and the emergency services sector. Developing disaster resilience involves understanding our local natural hazards and taking positive action to reduce the impacts of these hazards.
The Dandenong Ranges are usually quoted as either the number 2 or number 3 highest risk bushfire areas in the world. And so this disaster resilience program actually provides students and staff with the opportunity to put all that into context.
I didn't know much about disaster resilience. I knew that you usually have to have a fire plan for your house, and I knew what you had to do before a fire started in the area. I didn't know a lot about floods or other disasters that could occur around the hills.
I learnt that there were bushfires closer to my house than I would have expected. And I remember there was one activity we did during our lessons where we put in our address and we could set the filters to like any natural disaster, and we could see like in the past 50 years the natural disasters in our area.
With our parents, the dangers and what we could do, because they hadn't had the lessons and they probably haven't been taught like us.
Coming from overseas, it's different, so I've already been talking to my mum about being disaster resilient. I go home every time we do it and tell her more facts, and she finds it really interesting. And next summer we're hopefully going to do some more steps to get out earlier.
During the disaster resilience program, the initial lessons, the students were really animated. They really got into the lessons because it was related to their area. and it was related to events that they were familiar with. It was great to see them asking questions and talking about what they knew and what their parents had done, and even questioning, oh, why do you have to do that? They really got into it.
I think the access to the resources has been great. You know, going to the website, being able to look at the overlay maps, being able to look at the history of fire, the resources provided have been terrific, and I think that really stimulated discussion, and making it local and relevant, okay, for the students has been really good.
I'm much more confident now because everything was there that we needed. The students had great discussions, they could cope with all the work. Overall, it's been really smooth. Having the learning intentions there made it really easy, because that's how we work all the time, and all the information there. Knowing it's up to date and accurate information makes it a lot more confident. We will incorporate this unit of work into our curriculum now, so it will become part of our Year 7 Geography unit.
Disaster resilience education in the curriculum also supports our emergency management planning.
Let's work together to make disaster resilience an important part of your school's curriculum.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So thanks for the opportunity to share the Disaster Resilience Education Victoria website with you today. If you'd like more information, my details are there. I'm happy to talk to you at any time. Send me an email or give me a call. And I look forward to talking to you in the breakout rooms. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Alyssa. It was lovely to hear you speak, and lovely to hear some of the stories that the young people shared from the Upwey region. I was lucky enough to be driving out there last weekend. It definitely would be one of the higher fire danger areas, that's for sure.